Fade in.
I need a username. And I have a great one. Little Kid Lover. That way people will know exactly where my priorities are at.
By the way, he gave me permission to touch him.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
How dare you?
Put a chick in it, make her gay.
I love nothing more than to be dragged out at every fucking conceivable opportunity so you can fucking current day us.
Any diverse woman in it, make it clear.
This is the first time that we see a woman and the first time that we see a black woman in this area and this world.
But Mrs. Kennedy, Bambi's a baby deer.
Baby deer, put a chick in it, make her gay.
And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight and then watch the hair come back up again. I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap.
No, God!
The power of one!
And if you have a problem with that, come fight me. Physically. Bitch.
Has anyone taken
The power of two. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Peace. The power of many.
It counts as a disability where a video game like Elden Ring is concerned if you have a kid. You have a 2-year-old, you're trying to play Elden Ring, you can't pause. That is a situational disability that you have.
You think that I'm retarded?
Sexism in gaming.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
No trial, no nothing.
The games industry is diverse naturally. Not because anyone's making them be diverse. Because the world is diverse, you stupid mother.
F***ing pronouns! F***ing gender ambiguity!
You serious?
Journalists, we have a special jail for journalists.
Serious crap!
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
You keep doing that, no one up here is going to call you Donald Trump anymore. We're going to call you Donald Duck.
Weird.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Oh, you know it, lad. You know that, Hassan Piker. I'm coming to kill you in Los Angeles at your house.
Or in the ring.
No, in real life.
You know, come to think of it, ending the montage with him falling down the stairs as Sam Hyde yells, "I'm gonna kill you." Probably not the best thing, but to be honest, I can't do anything about it. I already had it. I like that video montage has taken me way too long to edit and put together, and I didn't feel like trying to change it at this point. First female president incoming. Hey, Purple Sky. Yes, hi bots, you are the bot on the twatter. So before we get into it, guys, thank you all for being here. I got my first Subscribestar subscriber this week, so that was pretty exciting. Actually, I saw that alert this morning, so that was pretty awesome. We've got a few channel members now, one Subscribestar supporter. I am absolutely appreciating all the love from you guys. Of course, I think I've got a few Twitch, subscribers as well, but I just don't think about Twitch that often, to be honest. Hey, Purple Now you on the YouTube. All right. That being said, I had an article I put up about this historian talking about Yasuke, and then of course I had somebody send me a essay in an email from Japan telling me why I was wrong. So we might get a chance to go into that later. Just make sure you check out my website. Make sure you check out metapcs.com if you're in the market for a new PC. They are fantastic, made in the US, wonderful US-based customer service. And then, of course, I've got the Kickstarter link down below for a friend of mine. He has got a lot of supporters for this. It's going to be an awesome graphic novel, sci-fi, kind of like Star Wars, Star Trek, but, good. Like how DC and Marvel used to make, just better. And with that, we're going to get into the news, guys. There's a lot to go over, and I don't have a whole lot of time. We've got so many stories to cover, and not a lot of time to do them. So, that being said, I don't know if any of you guys saw this. They had this Senate hearing today where they were basically grilling the head of the Secret Service and absolutely obliterating her. It wasn't just like right-wing, left-wing. It was everybody was just going after her. You're playing Overwatch 2? I've never even played Overwatch 1, okay? Ever. Gross sky? What does that mean? I thought I heard something on here. What is that? I don't know. Anyways, so this woman apparently used to be the head of security at, what was it? Pepsi or something? Cheadle, her name is. And she was the one ultimately responsible for choosing not to put as many agents on the sloped roof, all that BS about how they couldn't safely occupy that building that the idiot with the rifle was, stationed on, where he tried to take out Trump. And of course, she didn't answer any questions today. It was absolutely, Sonomics, she got destroyed. It was beautiful to watch, but at the same time, Overwatch is better because attractive female characters. I thought Overwatch took some of their characters and flattened their asses and all that, didn't they? I thought that they actually defeminized some of their characters. Mercy, wasn't it Mercy that they took her ass and deflated it? So yeah, they had this, I don't know who DVA is. I don't play Overwatch. Oh, you're bullying over Overwatch 2. I got it, okay. I got you. So some of these clips are pretty amazing though. So this is okay, here you go. This building is where the Secret Service was actually stationed. Now, there's no indication about whether or not they were actually in these rooms that had the windows facing the rooftop. However, the idiot with the rifle up there, that's the rooftop that he was on. You guys can see it in this video right here, okay? This is insane. Let me bring up the bigger screen.
My fellow Americans.
No, save that for later. Save that for later. Check this out. This is the rooftop that he was on. And this is this same building right here is where the Secret Service apparently had a headquarters or the police did or something. And nobody looked out these windows and saw him, which just seems really sus to me. I have no idea how that's even possible. But yeah, so she got destroyed over all this. Somebody pointed out in here that apparently, not to get too conspiratorial, someone who regularly visited Crook, the kid, the idiot, someone who regularly visited his home and work also visited a building in Washington, D.C. located in Gallery Place, the same vicinity of an FBI office. And you can see on the map here that they have it positioned to where the same freaking person visited Crook's home and an FBI office. Absolutely insane. Those sloped roofs, yeah. Oh, Tracer got the debuff. Okay. I see. Yeah, so this whole thing keeps getting grosser and smellier and just more awful. And there's a thread on here. I'll try to link it down below after the stream's over. They tracked basically all the devices, all the paths of these people involved, and it just blows my mind that independent investigators can do a better job than the actual FBI or CIA. I guess if they don't want to do the job, then that's part of why you just don't get the information out there. But yeah, so here was Nancy Mace, and I'm going to play a little bit of this. I don't really want to play too much of it, but this is pretty beautiful.
First question. Both sides of the aisle today have asked for your resignation. Would you like to use my 5 minutes to draft your resignation letter, yes or no?
No, thank you.
Was this a colossal failure?
It was a failure.
Yes or no? Was it a colossal failure is the question. Yes or no?
I have
I saw
this is a yes
or
no
Purple.
series of questions. Was this a colossal failure?
He got off a few shots before he left this earth.
Yes. Was this tragedy preventable?
Oh, man.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Has the Secret Service been transparent with this committee?
Yes.
Would you say the fact that we had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today as being transparent? Yes or no?
I have always been
Yes
eager to
or no?
come
You didn't
and
want to
talk
answer
to
the question.
committee.
We had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today. That is not transparent, by the way. You stated earlier, Secret Service is not political. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Ironically,
Okay, would you
Purple, that was the phone that the FBI couldn't get into, apparently. Like, seriously.
Say leaking your opening statement to Punchbowl News, Politico's Playbook, and Washington Post several hours before you sent it to this committee as being political.
Well, Geth, here's the thing. Being part of the government, being on the inside, knowing all the people, and especially if there's, let's say there's nothing that they're complicit on, this is completely just pure stupidity and ineptitude that led to this situation even happening in the first place. You're right. These guys are still going to get their asses covered because they're part of the system. So it's not even like, you know, if this is a situation where there's pure stupidity that's led to this one person losing their life, president almost getting taken out, 2 people injured, this gigantic global, I mean, this is embarrassing to see happening in front of like the entire world stage because this never should have happened. It's completely like preventable. But, you know, even that being said, people haven't lost their jobs yet. And I don't know how that's possible.
Yes or no?
I have no idea how my statement got out.
Well, that's bullshit. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record articles by Punchbowl News, Political Playbook, Washington Post, all done at 5:24 a.m., 6:12 a.m., 6:34 a.m., a solid 3 to 4 hours before this committee got your statement.
Without objection, so ordered.
Okay. Is the Secret Service fully cooperating with our committee?
Yes.
Okay, you say you're fully cooperating with this committee. On July 15th, this committee sent you a list of demands of information that we wanted. Has the Secret Service provided this committee a complete list of all law enforcement personnel that were there that day? Have you done that? Have you provided a list to the Oversight Committee? Yes or no?
I will have to get back to you on that.
That is a no. Have you provided all audio and video recordings in your possession to this
Oh, by the
committee
end of the
as we
election,
asked
sure.
on July
But at
15th,
that
yes
point,
or no?
it's like, dude.
I would have to get back to you.
That is a no. You're full of shit today. You're just being completely dishonest.
I think that's like the highlight of that one. We can move on to the next one. But again, it didn't get any better. The woman will not answer a direct question. She just goes, oh, I got to get back to you on that. You know the whole thing, the circle back thing that Jen Psaki used to do when she was the press secretary? Oh, we got to circle back on that one. Got to circle back on that one. That is all we ever got. Yeah, I get lost. That was pretty awesome. And I'm not a big fan of political theater. I'm not a big fan of these people that, you know, do like the big, oh, I'm going to get up there and make a big, you know, ruckus and just try to get a sound bite out of that. It's pretty obvious when they're doing that. This guy I thought was much more compelling, even more so than Nancy Mace.
The thing, you just said you had the ability to beef up the security. You knew about the threat, and you didn't. And that's as telling as it is chilling.
Mom
we have
energy,
satellite
yes.
images from the Butler Fairgrounds. Have
Yes,
you
she was
visited
on
the
fire,
site?
that's for sure.
No, I have not.
9 days and you have not visited the site. You should have been there that night. Did you talk to, that evening, did you talk to the team, the heroes that surrounded the president?
Yeah, Oblivion, that's the thing. She did put on a good performance. Unfortunately, you're right, it was more showboating. And again, that's not what I get into as much. But yeah, I think at least it shows the ineptitude and the lack of transparency that they're getting from the Secret Service, you know?
Did you call them that night?
They were still operational work.
So that's an answer is no. Did you call them the next day?
President. Yes, I spoke with.
You called them the very next day, not the day of, or was it 72 hours after?
I don't know the timeline, but I spoke with
Okay,
them
because you're under oath.
immediately
I
following.
think it was 72 hours after you waited
Yes,
3
it's
days.
things behind the
What
scenes
is
that we don't
immediately
see that
clear
matter.
is that there are a number of structures that need to be secured. Of these, Director, other than the first, immediate 4, what's the most dangerous site
Yeah,
that
get
should have been
lost. We
secured?
all know
Because
the
you know,
reason
security
why. They're just
101, you got to
not saying it out
mitigate
loud
the high
yet.
ground.
We'll get that eventually,
Yes.
maybe in a couple days.
Do you know what the next most dangerous site, what was the closest structure to the president, other than the 4 immediate ones that you had your counter sniper teams on?
There are a number of structures around that event site.
You know who the shooter knew? The shooter has visited the site 2 more times than you have, and he had a drone, and he picked the AGR building. So you said, do you remember in a...
The one thing I don't have on a tab on my line of tabs here to go over is apparently the kid took a rangefinder through security, and Cheadle here, the head of the Secret Service, basically said, well, rangefinders are not one of the blacklisted items when you're going through security for like a secured event, so they wouldn't have had any reason to take it away. I'm sorry, you got a president speaking in a situation where you know hostility is a very tensions are really high. Like everything's super volatile right now, especially going on in this country with the election coming up and everything. And they had no problem with a kid who afterwards was milling around for like 45 minutes, taking a freaking rangefinder through security and then leaving and going back and getting all of his crap.
ABC interview you did that you didn't have people on the roof of the AGR building because you were worried about safety because of the slope?
I recall that statement.
Okay. Does the Secret Service have written policy you can share with us about slope roofs?
No.
So why'd you act like there was one? Because isn't your practice to comment on enormous events of enormous national implications when you're ignorant of the facts? That's rhetorical. So here's this thing with the slopes. You go all up to like 1812, you can go to a 112, which is about as flat as you can get without it being completely flat. And you're saying that there was a danger, safety concern there, but the problem is, Director, you put your counter snipers on a 312 roof, which is steeper than the 112. And by the way, the 112 is ADA compliant. You can build a ramp for a wheelchair on a 112 roof. So these are nothing but pathetic excuses, and they make no sense, and they're a bunch of cow dung. All the law enforcement I've spoken with over the last 9 days are amazed that the AGR rooftop was not secure. And you want to know why? Because it's dangerous. I have never had any long gun training in my life. I own an AR-15, and last time I shot it one time my whole life. It was 6 years ago. That is until Saturday, where we recreated the events in Savoy, Texas, where you recreated what happened in
Jason,
Butler.
that's the real question we need answers to.
On a slope roof at 130 yards at 6:30 at night. It
definitely feels intentional.
And I knew that he had a scope. I didn't know what kind, red dot or magnified. So I shot 8 rounds from both. You know what the result was? 15 out of 16 kill shots. And the one I missed would have hit the president's ear. That's a 94% success rate. And that shooter was a better shot than me. It is a miracle President Trump wasn't killed. Corey Compatore's life is over because that damn shooter made it on the roof. And it wasn't the roof that was dangerous. It was a nut job on top of the roof. You know what else is dangerous? I believe your horrifying ineptitude and your lack of skilled leadership is a disgrace. Your obfuscating today is shameful. And you should be fired immediately and go back to Garden Doritos. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Go back to Garden Doritos. I freaking love that. So yes, there was, and again, there's a map of it right here. If you just dropped in, we just talked about this. There was someone who regularly visited Crook's home and who also visited a building in Washington, D.C. in the same vicinity of an FBI office on June 26, 2023. So that was a year ago, guys. A year ago. Same person visited both those sites. Absolutely bonkers. And again, this thread here, I'll try to link it down below. In fact, let me see if I can just drop it in the chat for you guys if you want to look at it yourselves. Hang on one sec. I'm just going to go ahead and pin it, and that way you guys can go look at it whenever you want to. There we go. Okay, that's the Twitter account. That's the thread that has all that information on it if you guys want to look at that for yourselves. Okay, so after that, I kind of want to switch gears because now we've had all this controversy. We had Trump have the attempt on his life. The same, like a week later, we had the whole cyber attack, not cyber attack, screw up where all these freaking corporate websites and shit got taken down. Now we have Joe Biden MIA. He's got COVID. Nobody's heard from him. Nobody's seen him. You know, who knows what's actually going on. This video right here from, I want to say this was 5 days ago, is the last time anybody saw Joe Biden. Now this man struggled to get into his car. I don't have the video that shows him walking off Air Force One and getting into the car, but he looked terrible. He couldn't even get into the car, okay, without help. And now there's all these rumors flowing around because since then he's stepped down from the presidential race. Current thing intensifies hardcore. We'll get into Kris in a second, Purple. I just want to go through some of this stuff because there is some rapidly developing stuff about Joe Biden and his possible, and I say a possible, health decline that we're going to get into in a minute. So this is Kamala Harris for the first time speaking since Joe Biden resigned, okay? This is her talking about him.
Biden's legacy of accomplishment
handing
over the past
torch on to
3
her.
years is unmatched in modern history. In one term, he has already, yes, you may clap.
God, if she ends up being president, I cannot listen to that cackle for 4 years. Holy crap.
In one term, he has already surpassed the legacy of most presidents who have served 2 terms in office.
Yeah, get lost. I don't think he's with us
first came
anymore
to know
either.
President Biden through his son, Beau. We worked together as attorneys general in our states. And back then, Beau would often tell me stories about his dad.
Deep throat to deep state,
He
my
would
God.
talk about the kind of father and the kind of man that Joe Biden is. The qualities that Beau revered in his father.
Now, I noticed when I was listening to this earlier, this sounds like when you're speaking about somebody who's no longer here. The way she talks about Joe Biden and the things that Beau Biden, who also has passed away years ago now, talked about his father and the things that he revered about him. This to me sounds like she's giving like a eulogy about Joe Biden. Just my 2 cents on the matter.
Are the same qualities that I have seen every day in our president. His honesty, his integrity, his commitment to his faith and his family, his big heart, and his love, deep love of our country.
Things that didn't happen for 100?
First-hand witness that every day our President Joe Biden fights for the American people, and we are deeply, deeply grateful for his service to our nation.
Yes, Tsunomics, I'm telling you, it sounds like a eulogy. It sounds like something that you say after he's gone and you want to talk about how amazing he is. Now, the funny thing is there's a lot of memes come out of this, guys. Ton of memes. Because Kamala Harris is probably the least intelligent, most inarticulate woman we've ever had in office. And I'm not just going to say, like, you know, it's not because of any one factor. It's not because she's a woman. It's not because of, you know, her lack of experience. She's just a moron. The way she speaks, she is just unintelligent. Well, I don't think she'd be Sol and Niblithian. She's been waiting for this moment for years. So, okay. I'm not trying to convince you that he's passed away. We're gonna get to the weird details coming out in a minute. So we have these memes where it says, I'll be running for president of the United States. We have states. States should be united. And all those states that are united have a president to provide over states that are united. This is the way we're going to have to listen to presidential speeches go for the next 4 years if she gets elected. And again, will it be worse than Joe Biden and his complete lack of mental capacity? I don't know. The passage of time. Yeah, oh my God, the passage of time. The wheels on the bus go round and round. There are so many montages. Oh, of course, Montel Williams endorses former flame Kamala Harris. The New York Post has got some... they put some edgy... posts out there. This one, again, is intentional. Nobody's asking Montel Williams, but they have to get that little dig in for the fact that she had hooked up with Montel Williams at one point. Here you go. This gal did a fantastic job as Kamala Harris.
I gotta get to the top. Oh my God, we're live. Excuse me. It is with deep regret that President Joe Biden has withdrawn his bid for the White House 2024. But this move proves we can be unburdened by what has been. So America, look up. Don't look down. For what was in is out, and what was out is now in. And the wheels on the bus go round and round. Also, if I'm chosen as the Democrat Party's nominee for President 2024, I just want you to know, America, you can trust me. Kamala Harris, 2024. I won't blow it. No, not that one. I'm sorry. Take 2. Kamala Harris, 2024. I won't suck. No, I'm sorry, not that one either. Take 3. Kamala Harris, 2024. I'll work hand and knee. That's the one. That's it. That's the one. Oh God, I'm not ready.
Oh God, I'm not ready. Yeah. Oh my God. Like, I get it. It's a meme. It's funny, you know, but it really isn't. It's really miserable. Oh my God, the Venn diagram. The Venn diagram. Holy crap, how could we forget about the Venn diagram? This woman, I don't know how many times she talks about how much she loves Venn diagrams, but holy shit.
I love Venn diagrams. I really do.
Okay, is this a mental illness, or does she just have like the most socially awkward personality on the planet? Who says something that's not funny? I love Venn diagrams. And starts like cackling about it. That's somebody who's mentally ill or deficient.
I love Venn diagrams. It's just something about those 3 circles and the analysis about where there is the intersection, right? Yeah, I see people that you agree with me, right? So, okay, so I asked my team, I brought props.
It's like people call, you know, certain women pick-me's or whatever. That's all I can think with her right now is she's a pick-me. She's like, I need you to like me. I need you. I need you to agree with me. Cali girls. Oh, hey Mahendra. No self-deleting. Shame on you. None of that. It's not that bad. 4 minutes of Kamala Harris being unburdened. I am not kidding. She has said this.
I can imagine what can be and
so
be
many
unburdened
times
by what has been. You know? What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
So all I can imagine is when she says what can be unburdened by what has been, it's some sort of analogy for, I would imagine, like slavery, right? It's like she's pulling on the I'm half black, but her half black isn't African, it's Jamaican, and ironically her family from Jamaica actually owned slaves, and the other half, she's Indian. So it's like, I don't know what she's trying to say she was burdened by or by America was burdened by. I can only imagine it's probably like something like slavery or some evil in our colonial past. But it is the most idiotic statement. Like, has anybody ever asked her what she actually means by what has been, you know?
What can be unburdened by what has been.
Maybe that's what it is,
Oblivion.
Oblivion.
Unburdened by what has been. What we can see, what we believe.
I don't know,
can
Geff.
be
Maybe it's
unburdened
just
by
a
what has been.
social
What can
awkwardness,
be
you know?
Unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
And it's not just the line. She has it's over here and then by here. You know, it's like what can be unburdened by what has been. It's like she's rehearsed this so many freaking times. So I'm not going to play the full clip. This is 4 minutes of it. She just repeats herself the entire time. And now, okay, so talking about Joe Biden, he's gone missing. He resigned via a tweet. The letterhead, the signature, none of it matched what he would normally use. And again, remember, he has an intern running his Twitter account full time. Karine Jean-Pierre, the press secretary, has been caught using his Twitter account to tweet as him, or she tweeted as him on her own and then had to put it on his account. I can't remember what the whole story was. So there's been a lot of this crossover between his staff running all of his social media. And again, now we have Joe Biden, who nobody's seen for 5 days. He's canceled a meeting with the dude from Israel, Netanyahu. He's supposedly feeling better. His doctor, in fact, where is this at? His doctor has a note. Where is this? Okay, we'll move this over here. Make it a little bit more chronological sense here. Okay, so we have this note from his doctor that says, President Biden completed his 10th dose of Paxlovid this morning. His symptoms have almost resolved completely. His pulse, blood pressure, respiratory rate, and temperature remain absolutely normal. His oxygen saturation continues to be excellent on room air. His lungs remain clear. The president continues to perform all of his presidential duties. I will continue to keep your office updated with any change in his condition or treatment plan. This was just today, all right? That, oh, he's doing great. We've given him 10 rounds. 10 rounds of Paxlovid. Like, that's a lot, okay? I can't imagine why anybody would need 10 rounds of anything. So now we have Joe Biden calling into a Harris campaign event. And remember, Joe Biden's account now is fully in campaign for Kamala Harris mode, okay? No one has ever had a bigger turnover in staff in history because she's nasty. Oh, no, for real. Yeah, Jason, she is mentally, like, fried, okay? Listen to this call. Most people do not believe that this is him, or if it is, it's a recording. Nobody's, like, I have a hard time believing that this is him actually living and alive talking about this. And Greg Price here says he sounds terrible. I don't think it sounds like him, okay? I don't know.
Let's listen.
There's so much more we're going to get done. And so I want to say hello to Kamala if she can hear me. I know she's going to be speaking shortly. And I want to say to the team, embrace her. She's the best. I want to call today to thank everybody in this effort. I know yesterday's news was surprising and it was hard for you to hear,
AI.
but it was the right thing to do.
I think, honestly, probably more recording than AI, because Kamala in the next clip goes to say recording. But it could be AI. It could be something that he pre-recorded.
It's I know it's hard because you poured your heart and soul into me to help us win this thing. Help me get this nomination. Help me win the nomination, and then go on to win the presidency.
Now, again, it does sound like him with the stuttering and the rambling, but here's the problem. The doctor is saying that his breathing is clear. He's doing great. He sounds terrible. No, this does not sound like sounds like a stroke. Yeah, this is not somebody who, if this is him, living, breathing Joe Biden talking either in a recording or live, this is not a healthy sounding person. This is worse than anything I've ever heard.
But, you know, you're an amazing team, but
sentence mix, yeah, exactly.
I think we made the right decision. I know how hard you've worked, how many sacrifices you made. And so many of you uprooted your lives for me, and the kind of commitment few people make for anything these days, but you
no
made
dentures?
it.
I mean, maybe.
Let's listen.
Okay. So you're right. He might not have his dentures in. Who knows? But whatever it is, he sounds awful. Now, listen to the very beginning of Kamala talking here. Okay. She says, "It's good to hear our president's voice, Joe. I know you're still on the record," and then says on the call. Just listen to this. This is absolutely insane.
It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call.
What the hell is that? I know you're still on the record.
Joe, I know you're still on the call.
I mean, I swear to God, it's like we're living in peak clown world right now. We have no idea who's running our country. We have no idea if our commander-in-chief is alive or dead.
We've been talking every day. You guys heard it from Doug's voice. We love Joe and Jill. We really do. They truly are like family to us.
And then, of course, you have the performative crap where 6 years ago, Kamala was saying how much she couldn't stand Joe Biden because she thought he was like this evil, old, bigoted racist or whatever when they were campaigning against each other. Recovery? I don't think recovery. Listen to the way, the structure of the sentence, the word recovery wouldn't make any sense.
Our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call.
On the She wouldn't say on the she'd say that you're still recovering, but she says on the There's got to be like a Freudian slip. Either way, now we have this weird memorandum that's come out, and I've looked at the community notes on this. Apparently, this is something that even Trump did. I mean, she might have implants. Yeah, a lot of times that tends to happen when you have the money for it. You can get implants because actually my mom spent the money on it last year, 2 years ago, and cost a fortune, but at least she doesn't have to worry about ever having a single tooth problem in the rest of her life. But damn, I wouldn't go through it. It's miserable. She's also an idiot. That is fair. We have to not be too hard on the woman because, quite frankly, she's not the most intelligent person on the planet. So, that being said, this memorandum has leaked, and it's the memorandum on the delegation of certain functions and authorities under the Rebuilding Economic Prosperity and Opportunity for Ukrainians Act. Essentially what it does is it gives certain power to certain cabinet members about rebuilding the economic prosperity and opportunity for Ukraine. And it Here's what it says. Section 1, I hereby, and this is from the perspective of the president, delegate to the Secretary of the Treasury the functions and authorities vested in the president by sections 104A1 and 104A2 of the Rebuilding Economic Prosperity and Opportunity for Ukraine Act. I hereby delegate to the Secretary of State, in consultation with the Secretary of the Treasury, the functions and authorities vested in the president, so on and so on. So a lot of people are reading this and freaking out, going, oh my God, he's giving away all of his powers. There's no way he's giving away all his powers. Well, there are situations, I believe Trump did this over certain acts and, pieces of legislation in his final term back in actually, it wasn't even his final term. I think it was back in 2019 where he did that. And I think it has to do with giving authority to people to approve spending of money or whatever, given certain acts that have been put into place. Doesn't mean necessarily that the president is signing away all of his power to everybody else. And he, essentially, people are like, why isn't he giving power to the vice president? What's going on? There are circumstances in this situation where this is not abnormal. There's this one from July 9th that somebody points out. Memorandum on delegation of functions and authorities under sections 1333 of the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2024. Again, not, I guess, uncommon. And I did find an example at one point of where somebody had shown that Trump had done the same thing. But it is just contributing to the idea that the man is either incapacitated, that there was a coup of some sort, that, again, I'm not alleging anything, but, Trump was supposed to no longer be living. That didn't happen. Then we had that giant cyber attack, and then Biden steps down from the nomination, even though his campaign thinks they're still going, but publicly they're making the statement that they're done. There's this conflicting narrative within the Biden camp, within the regime itself. So another questionable moment there. Right. We're going to cover the Charlie Kirk thing in a second. No official shit. So Sean Davis here. Let me see. Sean Davis says Biden's not at the White House. He's made no public appearance since the staffer took control of his X account and announced he was not running. There's no evidence Biden knows what happened today. Also, do we have any evidence Biden is even alive right now? So Charlie Kirk had shared this, and again, this is not a verified story, but he shared it this morning and said, I got a weird lead on a story that people should look into. I got a call from a source close to Las Vegas Metro. The official story was that Joe Biden's trip was cut short last week due to COVID. However, according to the source, U.S. Secret Service informed LV Metro that there was an emergency situation involving Joe Biden and to close necessary streets so that POTUS could be transported immediately to University Medical, which they began to do in earnest. Then, mysteriously, there was a stand-down order and the USSS informed local Vegas PD that they were going to medevac POTUS to Johns Hopkins, which they presumed meant fly him back east ASAP. Apparently, the rumor mill in the police department was that Joe Biden was dying or possibly already dead. I don't think too much about this lead, seemed too wild to be true, but given that Joe Biden has been out of public sight for days and dropped out of the race via an X post, and his brother James indicated health was a factor, I'm beginning to grow more curious if COVID or something else has been more serious than reported. And yeah, there was this thing I talked about in the video on the podcast channel, I think it was last night, where his younger brother, has come out and said, Joe is not in good health. This COVID thing is a big deal for him, and we just want him to have as much time as he can that he has left on this earth, basically enjoying it with his family. To which the Biden camp came out and said, oh, well, his brother's just a raging alcoholic, so don't believe anything he said. So now there's an update on this from Charlie Kirk, and it says, I've received multiple emails like this one confirming many elements of the story. Many have confirmed that a call went out to block streets to get Biden to University Medical Trauma Center ASAP, and then the plan abruptly changed and they got him out on Air Force One very quickly. I have not confirmed the IDs of these people, but there are an overwhelming number of stories corroborating essentially the same account that I felt comfortable sharing. I have people diving deeper into this now. And this is crazy because I think it was just a week and a half ago, a little more than that, 2 weeks ago, because it was before the attempt on Trump's life, where somebody actually said that Joe Biden had a medical emergency on Air Force One and they had to divert and take him somewhere else. And then everyone jumped on that and said, oh, no, see, they got him into a car. He was fine. There was no emergency whatsoever. And here we have this 2 weeks later where they haven't seen him for 5 days after coming down with COVID and canceling all of his events. What will they do with the 9 states that Joe's on the ballot and can't be removed unless ordered? Alabama, Pennsylvania, Ohio, etc. I don't know. I don't know what they would do with that. No, Minyo, I don't want Joe Biden to die. Personally, this is freaking me out. I do, as much as I couldn't stand him as president, he at least keeps some sense of normalcy in the office until he's, replaced by whoever is going to replace him down the road after the election. With him gone, it's like the people who are controlling him or working behind the scenes have free reign over the entire government to do whatever they want to. And it's like, as much as I didn't have any respect for Joe Biden, as much as I can't stand the guy, I would much rather he be living and in office, sitting in that position until he's able to retire and get out of there than anything else. I don't want him dead. Never have. I think the man himself is demoralized and that can cause death. I mean, it's possible, yeah. Oh yeah, Blithian. I mean, the thing is, I hate that we have to get so much information secondhand because the mainstream media and his camp is so... They withhold so much information. We can't get any information out of them. Broken bones are emergencies, falls are emergencies, and he falls a lot. He falls quite often. So, this is where we get into rumor territory, guys. So, tinfoil hats and all that stuff. This is from a Twitter account called Global Press. Now, I don't even follow them. They've got 41,000 followers. This could be nothing. Okay, this could be less than nothing. But they're saying a verified source has informed the Global Press team that Joe Biden is currently in hospice and is unlikely to survive the night. Now, again, I have no idea where their verified sources coming from, why these guys are even, how they have 40,000 followers on Twitter. I know nothing about them. This is the first time today that I've come across them. So they put this in the thread here. It says, earlier today, the White House abruptly canceled all of President Biden's Monday meetings and had tentatively removed all meetings for the week. That is true, as far as I can tell. Roz Alerts, who is very good about reporting actual news, says, this news report is 100% false, and there is no official confirmed source stating that President Joe Biden is in hospice and unlikely to survive the night. If this were actually happening, mainstream media and social media would be covering it. Not true. That's where I'll say that that's not necessarily true. So they responded and said, yes, like we said, there is no official source, but the source told us Joe Biden was dropping out of the race this Sunday, 2 days prior to the announcement, also informed us of this just now and corroborated it with another source. So here's the thing. If their source is the same source that provided, I believe it was Newsmax with the information that Joe Biden was going to drop out of the race like 5 days before he did, then there's a chance that we will see something in the next day or two corroborating this story. But this could be completely hogwash, whatever. Here's the thing. At Joe Biden's age, at his obviously declining health, as you can see it with your own 2 eyes, betting on him not making it to the end of the year is a pretty safe bet. Just not even being morbid, being honest. He's a very old man in very poor health with a lot of stress, clear signs of dementia, and they've been dragging him along, forcing him to do this when he should have been in a retirement home eating pudding or whatever. So betting on him passing away suddenly at any point, that's not exactly a long shot. But the reality is, if he does pass away before he's out of the Oval Office, huge catastrophe for everybody involved in this entire, this whole nation. I'm terrified if that actually comes true. Who's going to pardon his family? That's a great question, because I know Kamala ain't gonna do it. There's no way. Kamala would not. She has no use for Joe Biden. She can't stand him. Never has, never will. So again, now we have somebody else saying reporters at Red State have also confirmed this story about the Las Vegas Police Department. An additional source, not a medical person in position to know, tells me that Biden had stroke-like symptoms, but did not elaborate as to what those were. But when the doctor traveling with Biden determined it wasn't a full stroke that they could treat on Air Force One en route to Andrews, the motorcade diverted to the airport. According to this source, it's believed Biden had a transient ischemic attack, and that's again in regard to when he was in Las Vegas. Short period of symptoms similar to those of a stroke, caused by a brief blockage of blood flow to the brain. And that definitely seems to fit, given his medical history and everything else. President Kamala, inshallah, please no. all the drugs they juice him up with when they had to shovel him out in the public have caught up with him. Dude, honestly, my suspicion is the exact opposite. So think about it. Again, tinfoil hat territory. I'm not saying any of this is verifiable or whatever, but assuming that they knew that there would be an attempt on Trump, right? Let's say that there was no corroboration, but they knew that there'd be an attempt. The attempt it wasn't successful. Then they've tried to previously take him out with legal cases. They've tried to take him out with everything under the sun, disqualify him from running, everything else. All these things have failed. And so at this point, the most sense would be, okay, well, we don't need Joe anymore. Pull the plug. Stop giving him all the drugs that we've been giving him to keep him alive. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's the exact opposite. I think they've cut off his flow of whatever it is that they use to juice him up with. Weekend at Biden's. Yeah. Makes sense. I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate that this is the way it's playing out, but this was always the way it was going to go because of the fact that they have pushed him and pushed him and pushed him. And again, people have been like, oh, I feel so bad. I don't feel bad for Joe Biden when it comes to the fact that I think he's a reprehensible human being. And I'm going to be very honest about that. The stuff from his daughter's diary, the way we've seen him act around people, the allegations of him, I have no doubt in my mind he has done things that I would find completely abhorrent. But that being said, he is still a human being, and I did not want him to end his life in this situation like this, with the entire world being thrown into, like, up in the air because of it. Yeah, except the FBI and the Secret Service, Yeah, Minyo, I don't think he's going... Even if this is all speculation and he's okay, and he's just laying super low because the COVID is kicking his ass because he's so old and he's in such bad health, even if all those things are true, and that's, even if that's all the case and that's what we have, to work with here, even if that's the case, I don't think he's going to make it to the end of the year. I don't think there's any chance. We've watched him in just the last few months. And like I said, since I think they turned off the drip of whatever they've been giving him, we've watched him completely fall apart right before our very eyes. I don't think there's any chance that he makes it to the end of the year at this point. It sucks, but unfortunately, it just is what it is at this point. You don't think he'll ever think there's another way to approach reality? I don't know that he even knows what reality is at this point. I don't know how far gone he actually might be. And that's the real question mark. So that's where we are with Joe. I haven't seen anything else. In fact, I'm going to get rid of some of these. I'm going to get rid of some of these guys because there's a lot of tabs open on my computer, and my computer, I have a new processor I bought for it. I wanted to replace the processor and the graphics card, put a bigger power supply in. Problem I ran into is my motherboard is just old enough that I bought like the best processor I could to upgrade it with, but still not very good, pretty cheap. If I wanted to upgrade a little bit further, I'd have to buy a new motherboard and completely build my computer again from scratch. I don't want to do that. So that being said, Chrome is very CPU intensive, so I don't want to have all these browser tabs open if I don't need them up anymore. God, I hate Chrome. I need to switch to a different browser. This is terrible. Get us up to our next story, which I know that there are several people who have been waiting for. Processor that I got. So I currently have the Ryzen 5 3600. So I've got the Asus TUF Gaming. It's the AM4 chip that's in there. And so the best one I could really get was the Ryzen 9 5000 series. It's the 5600, I believe. Anything that's like a Ryzen 7 would require the AM5 chip, as far as I could tell, and my motherboard doesn't have that. So this is, at least, when you compare this to the processor I have, it's much better. I didn't really need the power supply that I bought because it's not really going to create any more power usage, but I'm still toying around with the idea of maybe replacing the graphics card as well. I don't know. Being limited as far as like what I can upgrade to, I don't really want to go buy a crazy expensive graphics card when I can't really up my processor power that much. Doesn't make any sense to me personally to do that. Hey, Blu-ray. You got an RTX 4070? Yeah. I don't know about that. I'm not like, honestly, you can look at my build on my PC on like Twitch and Kick. I've got the specs on there. It's a very budget build from 5 years ago, and this thing has been chugging along. Like, I've upgraded the RAM once. I added 2 more sticks of RAM like 3 years ago. I added the SSD, the what do they call it, the M2 SSD, like last year. Other than that, I haven't really done anything to it, and this thing is just like a friggin' tank. It runs pretty much any game. It multitasks pretty well. You got a 4070? Damn. Let's see. Well, Get Lost, the thing that I found really strange is that he backed out of the race via a tweet that he didn't even write. That's the part that set me off, like, with this whole thing seeming like something's really weird, you know? It's very strange. Just being congenial to a sick man through his whole life has been suggested and run by a group of people who never cared about him. Yeah, but, you know, Minyo, the thing is, he did benefit from it. I mean, the level of corruption that he was part of, and when you get down to it, he spent 50 years taking taxpayers' money, not really accomplishing anything, you know? I don't think I need your 1080. I think my graphics card is better than a 1080. I'm not 100% sure. Get Lost, I am not a computer guru. You could tell me my... I've got a Sapphire Pulse 5600, I believe mine is. Picked up a 3090 off eBay and it was weird, but it works super well. What do you mean weird? Is it like a like off-brand, kind of like what do they call those weird brands that they have on eBay and Amazon? Surviving the jungle with Uncle Bo, fighting cannibals. Your graphics card is powered by hamsters. Hey, nothing wrong with that, you know? Nothing wrong with that. So yeah, my issue was I waited till the Amazon Prime Day and I looked at this processor. I had it in my cart a couple days beforehand. I looked at during Amazon's Prime Day. I'm like, okay, it looks like it's a few bucks cheaper. I went ahead and bought it. After Prime Day was over, it ended up being $4 cheaper. I'm like, okay, I could send it back, or I could just say screw it, install the thing, maybe upgrade my graphics card at some point. I'd feel bad though, because my graphics card, I mean, every part of my computer has really hung in there really well. You're used to AMD cards? Yeah, my processor's AMD. I think I'm gonna stick with AMD for a while. Oh, you've got your rig on the part picker, huh? Now, is this what you're currently working with? You mind if I put this on stream here, Hunter? Well, you've got part compatibility issues on there, dude. Vantex Glacier 1360 MPH Liquid PC. See, the thing is, you've got all those LED lights, man. My PC doesn't have anything for LEDs. I've got a little tiny strip on the back of the motherboard that it came with. I was thinking about adding some after the fact, but honestly, it's like, no. You want me to upgrade my board? Ugh, man. Then I gotta build the whole thing again from scratch. I don't know. I mean, I could replace the motherboard and keep all the rest of the same parts. I already have the power supply. I picked up an 850 watt, so I've got that covered. I don't know. Yeah, look at this. It says you have compatibility issues, dude. No wonder you're single. I'm just kidding. Chill. Only 590 or 589 estimated wattage, huh? Oh, the motherboard running old BIOS. Okay, I got you. That's pretty nice. Oh, you got the Corsair power supply. Yeah, I went with the EVGA. Yeah, see, you've got all... I think you sent me a picture of your PC. You've got all those light-up fans and stuff in there. And then where's your graphics card? Oh, here you go. Gigabyte Aero OC GeForce RTX 4070. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at a graphics card that's like $300 or $400 at the most. I don't want to spend a whole bunch of money on it, especially because my thought is eventually I'm going to give this computer to my wife and I'll get myself like a Meta PC because they've got some sick builds. I went there in March, met the guys, Zach and Kyle and all the rest of the owners in person at their Phoenix showroom. And some of their PC builds are absolutely insane, and they're not terribly expensive. They're obviously like the price you pay to have somebody else build your PC for you. It's a few $100 more than it would cost if I did it myself. But I can't create a PC from scratch the way that those guys do it, you know, in their shop there. There's just no way I could do it myself that way. How's the temperature on the 14? I have no idea. Beware of Corsair. See, that's the thing is my first power supply has been EVGA, and I love it. I've had no problems. Oh, it was on Discord. That's right. Okay. I'll pull that up in a second. Asus has a good board on Newegg for cheap. Well, you know, I was looking at Newegg, and the thing about Newegg is that like Amazon, as stupid as it sounds, Amazon's actually cheaper when it comes down to it. You can always go if you're wanting to upgrade. It's called Meta PCs. Nerd Rock from Geeks and Gamers Quartering. Oh, like the ones that they use? Yeah, Eric, I was putting together my own on Meta PC's site when I was looking at it. And I think mine that I was kind of shooting for was in that $300 to $3,500 range. So nothing crazy expensive, but definitely more than my first PC I built for about $1,200 or $1,300 worth of parts total. And this thing has lasted so well, it's not even funny. It's crazy how well it's lasted. Yeah, Purple. We'll do it. We'll talk. We'll get into it. So, all right. Sorry, I gotta ditch the hoodie. The weather here will not make up its freaking mind. It was 90 degrees this weekend, and then today it was like low 70s. And then it got chilly tonight, but now I got freaking warm all of a sudden. I'm not even a PC nerd. That's the thing is I had to get help from a buddy of mine in Texas, where I just live streamed putting together my PC the first time, and he helped me like walk through it via like Discord chat and watching on like my live stream and stuff. So now I'd say I'm a little more knowledgeable, but even then I'm still, the PC nerd talk is boring. Hey now. Nothing wrong with PC nerd talk. Chill. All right. So we've talked about Dr. Disrespect. We've talked about Nick Merckx. We've talked about, in summary, this person, Kris Tyson, over at MrBeast's channel, because of the fact that these things have all intersected. Nick Merckx, you know, big Call of Duty streamer and all that. He stuck up for Dr. Disrespect because they had this whole leave the kids alone thing that was happening back during the whole Pride Month, transing, and all that kind of crap, right? And so Nick Merckx has gotten into it in the past on Twitter with this person, Kris Tyson, who decided he was now a woman and he was going to, you know, become a mom instead of a dad, I guess. I don't even know how these people identify once they change their identity. But Nick Merckx got canceled for saying some offensive words about these people on Twitch. And, you know, people kind of owned him and said, oh, you know, you're just a big chud, you're an idiot, and you deserve it. And now what we have, this is crazy because we had Dr. Disrespect getting canceled, right? This is not a new thing. Dr. Disrespect, he got canceled for talking to a minor, and all these people that were defending Kris Tyson, Kris Tyson, however you want to refer to them, were going after Dr. Disrespect saying, see, you know, you guys are just phobic and you guys just don't like people who don't, you know, conform to your lifestyle, and Dr. Disrespect's the real predator and all this stuff. Well, now it's come out that Kris Tyson, who has not only supported somebody who does apparently CP cartoons, one of which I guess involved Keemstar's child, that they drew of his daughter. Apparently this person, let me see, where is this at? Now, where is this? See, I'm a mess. I got too many tabs open and I can't even find it. All right, give me a second. Hey, we gotta find this. I'd use a mainstream like a media source, but nobody's even covering this. I think Sportskeeda, I think is. Let me check. When I checked earlier, Dexerto wasn't covering this. Kotaku wasn't covering this. Nobody was. Here we go. So we'll use Sportskeeda. React to Star Wars The Old Republic trailers. Everyone's demanding. You watch retro gaming streams on Twitch. You talked to Markiplier when he came to your stream once. Super nice guy. Oh, that's cool. My kids are always joking about Markiplier because I don't let them watch his content because he's not, I don't think, kid friendly, but they know of him and so they always joke about it. I'm like, guys, I don't even really know who Mark. I know he's a 30 million subscriber, YouTuber. That's about it. What's this topic? Double standards for the alphabet people. Dude, everybody gets double standards, okay? Minyo, that's the thing. My podcast channel, when I talk about entertainment, sometimes the Star Wars videos get decent views, like a couple thousand. Sometimes they get like 100. It just depends. Who even knows at this point? So, Sportskeeda, bless their heart, actually has an article covering this person. It says, what are the allegations against Kris Tyson, Mr. Beast crew member accused of talking inappropriately with a minor? And again, let's take this back to Dr. Disrespect. If I Google it right now, or you guys can do it on your own, there are thousands of articles, not even kidding, probably thousands of articles, talking about Dr. Disrespect, messaging a minor inappropriately when he was part of Twitch, and using the whisper system to talk to this person about potentially meeting up with them at TwitchCon, okay? That was a huge deal. The entire internet melted down. We all covered it for weeks. I made videos about it. I wrote articles about it. And at the end of the day, everyone pretty much agreed, you know what? We all can disagree on how severe it was, depending on the person's age, or whether he deserves to have his entire life ruined because of it, whatever. Everyone's got different opinions as far as that goes, but pretty much everybody universally agreed it was a wrong thing to do. Like, no controversy. Most people who had defended him previously said, yeah, bad idea. There is nobody from the other side of things who was going after Dr. Disrespect hard. I'm talking like going after, like, they wanted his life ruined for this. Talking about this guy. They're all silent. It's like crickets, okay? Nobody wants to talk about it. We'll cover it up exactly. All right, Oblivion, take it easy. How shit Disney Star Wars is, and I brought up, I think the Old Republic cinematic trailers are some of the best Star Wars out there. Now you just need validation. You don't need validation, man. You're allowed to have your opinions. Well, Purple, I think that there's a reason for that, honestly. If these allegations turn out to have any credibility at all, I mean, then you're... I tend to go with my gut when I cover people, when I talk about people, when I, your gut, your instinct, tends to know best, I would say, for a lot of people. So it says, Kris Tyson has recently been accused of sending inappropriate texts to a minor. I'm trying to, I feel like the more we talk about this stuff, the better chance I have of the stream getting demonetized. So I'm trying to skirt the edges of what I can say without them, like, hitting me with that demonetization. Oh, yeah, no, see, Dr. Disrespect, I look at him as, like, the, same way that people like Overlord DVD, Doomcock, the guy that has all the rumors and gossip about like Star Wars and stuff. It's entertainment. Some people find him entertaining. Some people don't. Some people love Dr. Disrespect. Some people think he's an idiot. When it comes to entertainment, I'm not going to tell you what you should and shouldn't enjoy, or what who's great and who's not. Look, I think IShowSpeed is an idiot. But there are millions of people who think IShowSpeed is like the greatest thing ever. I don't get it. Not for me, but whatever, entertainment's entertainment. Well, that's the thing, Purple. I mean, the whole lolly thing, I don't even want to get into that because, yeah, I mean, the doc is a character, and for some people, they like that. Like Peter Herman, exactly. Same with IShowSpeed, I think. I think it's just a character he's playing. But, like, I don't want to get into the whole what kind of anime is acceptable, where you cross the line as far as, like, what's too far and what looks too young. It's like, I don't want to get into any of that. That's just, it's not my place to tell somebody what kind of anime or cartoon style they like. Do I think it's weird? Absolutely. Would I watch it? Absolutely not. But, I've never researched that lolly crap enough to really know for myself like how far it goes. So it says the controversy has garnered a lot of traction on social media after screenshots of the alleged text sent by the MrBeast crew member were shared by the YouTuber Prism42 in a video titled "Kris Tyson talked inappropriately to a 13-year-old about a month ago." It's funny that this came out a month ago and no one's even talking about this. Clips from the 10-minute long video have been going viral on X after being shared by Drama Alert. Prism42's video claims that Kris Tyson met with a 13-year-old during a giveaway organized by MrBeast's team. Another YouTube video by Brion has gone viral, containing a Discord screenshot of certain jokes that were made by Kris Tyson and sent to the minor when the kid was 15 in 2019. Here's the thing. I don't understand, because at this time, Kris was like in his 20s. I don't know if he was married yet, but he was in his 20s. He's in college-age kid. Why are you talking to somebody who's 13 years old? Where is your brain at? Especially if you are, let's say, okay. Allegedly, I think Kris swings both ways. All right. Well, that's pretty obvious, given the fact that he's now presenting as female and he had a wife and a kid. So this is clearly not like a big brother situation, like a father figure situation where you have like a younger friend that he's looking up to you, like a big brother kind of thing. This is clearly something different. Why, as a 20-something-year-old guy, would you want to have any sort of innuendo or joking around with a kid who's 13 years old? That's just disgusting. I don't even care what his actual intentions were. That is just completely disgusting. They're doing some sus things with Tyson. Oh, really? I mean, purple, it is a very good shield. I will say that. I'm not gonna we'll be called phobes for this, you know, Casey. Unfortunately, this is just the modern world that we live in, you know. So it says a particular screenshot from X back when it was Twitter has garnered significant backlash. In it, Kris appears to be joking about sending scantily clad pictures to the minor. If he's talking about it out in public, it's not a joke. Okay. The alleged post from Kris Tyson from 2018 reads, "I posted some fire selfies for you. Please no share." As mentioned, Prism42 is not the only YouTuber to bring forward allegations against Tyson. A video dated July 22nd from Brion titled, "Kris Tyson got caught talking to a minor. It's bad. Seems to be the reason why the accusations are finally attracting such a wide audience." So I knew the camera was going to die. Hang on. There we go. The video has over 500,000 views within a day of it being posted online. Tale's old as time. I mean, it's a disgusting tale, unfortunately. We're phobes, yeah, 100%. I'm okay with that. The 30-minute long video contains several instances of Kris Tyson contacting the minor, with Brion raising concerns over their interactions. A particularly relevant clip has garnered a lot of attention after it was shared by ex-user Feared Buck, where a screenshot sent by the minor who was 15 at the time is being discussed. The screenshot depicts a Discord message sent by the minor when he was 15 entitled, "I got a weird snap from Kris," and shows a snap sent by Kris Tyson making an adult joke. Here is what Brion says about it in the YouTube video. "Why in any context would you send something like that to somebody you most likely know is 15 years old while you were 22 years old? I have a feeling people are going to argue that this is a joke or something by Kris. Kris is a funny guy, he's the meme guy, but this right here is not a joke that you make to somebody who's 7 years younger than you and to somebody who's a minor." I mean, the age thing, 7 years younger, if you're 40 and the person's 33, that makes no difference. If you're 30 and they're 23, it makes no difference. Now, if you're talking about you're 18 and they're 11, you're 22 and they're 15, that's a much bigger situation. He was suspended? I thought he just deleted all of his tweets. Hang on a second, we'll get to that in a minute. I'll take a look. Readers should note that the minor in question, who's 20 now, has refuted these claims in a series of posts on X where he absolved Kris Tyson of any blame. Now, here's the crazy thing. Just saying, "Oh, nothing happened, he was totally fine, it's all good," doesn't mean anything, especially if you're the victim of something. You can say whatever you want to in defense of the person. Don't they call that, Stockholm Syndrome or whatever? Where you just, you can't see your abuser as a actual villain. You have to, you can't be a victim, you have to defend them. You think he was? We'll have to take a look. Hang on a second. Kris Tyson has yet to publicly address the situation on social media, and viewers expect Mr. Beast to also make a public statement about the issue now that it's become a widely discussed topic. Well, I don't think Mr. Beast has talked about it at all, okay? And then you got this guy, Jake Franklin, Jake the Viking. I believe he was associated with Mr. Beast. I could be wrong about that, saying he knew, talking about Jimmy. Jimmy knew. You got memes like this coming out. I left my friend alone with children on an island for 30 days. This person here, Toasty, she's a YouTuber. She apparently got sent this by Kris Tyson. I have no way of knowing if this is fake or not. Okay. But here you have this, looks like a DM from Kris Tyson saying, one look at your profile before the block and geez, take up yoga on your local freeway. So if that's a real DM from Kris Tyson, that is, that's sketchy. That's like, holy crap. Then of course you've got Mr. Beast, Keemstar saying Mr. Beast connected me directly to Lava, the alleged Kris Tyson victim. Claims I wasn't a victim. I didn't meet Kris Tyson by myself. I met Kris and Mr. Beast crew with my family. The thing is, the video that they're talking about, I bring it up, but I don't want to sit here and watch another half-hour video with you guys. Basically, the kid drove out in a camper van when he was 16 years old to meet Kris Tyson, allegedly. A few days later, he met him publicly. But like, he took his camper van, when he's 16 years old, to the middle of nowhere and parks it like out in the middle of the woods for a few days, and then turns up with, you know, Kris Tyson down the road. Yes, Sneeko, who I have less than no use for, same with Andrew Tate, both, unfortunately, today, I was listening to both of them, I'm like, damn it, I don't want to agree with these guys, but, you know, they're making me agree. So this is from Sneeko, and I again, I'm not a fan. I'm gonna be very honest about that. I don't like Fuentes. I don't like Sneeko. I don't like Tate. I don't like any of these guys. I just don't. I don't even want to go into detail as to why. But I think that this was very illuminating if this is also true. So it says, Kris Tyson allegedly said that Bad Baby was hot, according to Sneeko's testimony. And this is from when Bad Baby was jailbait, as we'll listen to right now.
I remember Kris saying that Bad Baby Cash Me Outside. Remember, she's made about $55 million from OnlyFans, one of a bad reflection of American culture. The day she turned 18, all the simps came out of the woodworks to go subscribe to this. It shows like how disgusting sex work is, which is just prostitution.
Now, right there, I 100% agree with him, and it is really creepy. It's tough. It's a really tough situation when you have somebody who's nearing the age of 18 and then they're illegal, and you automatically, like, you have to flip the switch of go, oh, you know, they were a child here, but now they're legally adult here, although they probably look the same within minutes of, you know, turning 18, and you go, well, now they're legal, so now I'm not gross, but if I looked at them wrong before they were 18, that's disgusting. Again, I get that there's a lot of gray area. Like, it's really hard for a lot of people talking about the consent, like, laws about, you know, consensual, you know, age of consent and all that. That's why you're better off just to avoid that entire thing and date people like in their 20s, you know? Don't go near anybody over the age of 18 or under the age of 18. If you are over 20, stick with 20, 21 and up, you know? Don't go anywhere near the teens at all. That's the safest way to go. But unfortunately, he's right, you know? People saw her as a child, and then the minute they were waiting for her to turn 18, so that they could get a piece of her, essentially, you know?
But I remember when I was working for Mr. Beast, like in that time, at 2017, 2018, I remember Kris saying, like, isn't she hot? Isn't, like, Cash Me Outside girl, like, isn't she, like, 14? Is she 14 years old? Yeah, it's jailbait.
I mean, that right there, again, this is not substantiated. This is just one guy making a claim saying, yeah, he said this thing one time. And again, if it was worth mentioning now, why didn't this come up before? You know, why didn't we hear about this before? So, you know, take it with a grain of salt, I guess. I think, honestly, I don't know, the majority of people think Joe Biden's dead. Dead or incapacitated, oh boy. All right, rest in peace, Joe Biden. It is disgusting. It is creepy. There's no question about that.
And I'm like, what? I had never heard somebody say that in my life. That was the first time where somebody unironically said that. And that's how I know that porn rots people's brains. It's like that's got to be from somebody who was watching anime, was watching all that stuff, was chronically online.
Again, watching anime, that's a very harsh thing to say. I don't watch anime and I don't look at anime like that. As far as like having his brain rotted by things he's consuming, 100%, I totally agree that that's probably a thing. Oversaturation of whatever he's consuming in his off time has probably distorted his perception. And yeah, no, chicks are definitely hotter in their 20s and up. The whole argument that you'll see from like the red pill community, where it's like, oh no, girls are never more desirable than when they're like 16 or 18. It's like, first off, ew. Secondly, most of society has moved beyond those basic biological impulses to procreate, and it's more about like, you know, compatibility and stuff, because we're no longer like animalistic. We're surviving much easier these days. You don't have to like perpetuate the species. It's not the same world we were living in thousands of years ago. But that being said, there is this idea among the whole red pill community that you have to like marry as young as possible or women can't have children. There's a certain line within that is 100% true. You know, the idea that you're going to have an easier time having kids in your 30s and 40s if you never had kids than you would in your 20s or late teens? Absolutely not. I mean, the lie of feminism that has ruined so many women's like ability to get married, have kids, and be moms is telling them you guys can wait, you can wait, you can wait. That doesn't mean that you need to date girls who are barely legal and have as many kids with as many teenagers as possible. Again, so many things go so extreme both directions, you know? Yeah, Blu-ray, 100%. 25, I say 25 is a good age. So I decided I wasn't having kids before I was 25, and I wasn't going to keep having kids after I was 30. So my wife, she had our first kid, I think I was 25 or 26, and then we were done by the time I turned 30, and we had our 3 kids. And I thought, you know, that's a pretty good age range to be in.
Like, to have that terminology, to communicate that, and then when it ends up that this guy becomes a woman, I'm like, that it makes sense.
That and the whole, there's a fetishization that has gone into this. And unfortunately, I don't think I have the bookmark on Twitter. But let me find it real quick and bring it up for you guys, because this is something that I was looking at earlier, because I jogged my memory. And again, this is just beyond creepy. Here you go. This was Kris Tyson last year, sharing a picture of his 2-year-old in high heels. Okay? Tucker chose to slay this morning. Again, Kris Tyson on Snapchat. And this is just creepy. Like, I don't even know how to put it. It's just beyond creepy, you know? You're getting too old, Hunter? How do you think I feel? I'm freaking 38, man. Yeah, I mean, you know, I think, you know, here's the thing. So our kids, all 3 of our kids are in Little League. They all play with, you know, kids their age. And we've been noticing, my wife and I, because we're both under 40, and my oldest kid is he's 11. You know, he's going into his teen years pretty soon here. And all the other parents are, you know, that have kids in our age range for our, you know, our kids' ages, are like going into their late 40s. They all waited super long to have kids. And now they're going to be like, you know, 10 years older than my wife and I are when their kids are teenagers and going to their early 20s. I'm like, I can't believe you waited that long, you know? That's insane. Yeah, but Hunter, I'm also a lot older than you. You got time, dude. You like girls with fully developed brains. But see, that's the thing, though. The idea of like the red pill thing is you don't need a woman with brains as long as she puts out and stays home and cooks you, you know, meals and makes babies for you. You don't need a girl with a brain, you know? Yeah, 86. Oh, 86 was a great year. I always said we had Reagan, the Top Gun soundtrack. What else came out in 86? I've got my little plaque somewhere around here that's got all the stuff from 1986 on it. I just can't remember where it's at. I think my wife got that for me for my birthday. At least grannies know what they want. Yeah. God bless the grannies. So again, contrast all this coverage, or lack thereof. Like, in fact, I'm gonna do a basic Google search for you guys right here. We'll do this in real time. Kris Tyson. We'll even use the proper name Ava Kris Tyson with the K instead of the CH, all right? We will bring up the news tab and see what actually pops up. We've got, finally, Sportskeeda, we already showed. The Direct, 10 hours ago, finally had a new article on them. Dexerto finally has something. But again, it said, okay, so here you go. Pink News isn't talking about it. Rolling Stone isn't talking about it. MSN doesn't have anything on it. This is great. I'm going to bring up this Dexerto article. Look how they are covering this, guys. Look at how they are covering this. Alleged victim of Kris Tyson slams accusations as massive lies. Kris did nothing wrong. That's what they led with, okay? That's what they led with. However, okay, we go Dr. Disrespect. And again, I'm not defending Dr. Disrespect. This is about all things being equal. I was very fair and very honest about Dr. Disrespect, about my opinion. And once he admitted to it, I was like, the dude admitted to it. Like, what else is there to say, you know? Okay, so here you go. Look at the sheer number of any article that you want to pick from, covering even as recently as 6 days ago, okay? 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, talking about Dr. Disrespect, covering every aspect of the story, and they were running articles the minute that guy tweeted about the reason he got banned from Twitch. I'm talking within hours. And again, 1 month ago, 2 weeks ago, 1 month ago, all these different websites, all covering it. IGN, Kotaku, GameSpot, Sports Illustrated, Game Rant, Rock, Paper, Shotgun, Washington Post, all these major outlets, Kotaku. And yet they are silent, completely silent on Kris Tyson. And there's only one reason for that. Well, two, Mr. Beast. And again, Andrew Tate, much as I abhor the man because I cannot stand him, he had a video on Twitter. I'm not going to play the whole thing because I'm sure that that'll get me in trouble. However, he points out that Mr. Beast only got to where he is. I'm not going to discredit like Mr. Beast's like quality of his content. I don't know. I don't watch his videos, so I have no idea. But he got to where he is because YouTube and the algorithm decided they wanted him there, okay? You don't get to that many subscribers without the help of the YouTube algorithm pushing you to the forefront, all right? That's what they do. They decide, the YouTube algorithm decides what gets throttled, what doesn't. That's just a hard, reality of life. So Mr. Beast didn't get to where he was on his own. Yes, it took hard work, took creativity, took ingenuity, took all these things. But YouTube then decided, hey, we like this channel, we're going to push this channel, okay? Then you have the situation with Kris. And YouTube is still going to have him as the featured channel, and they don't want any of this drama because they're going to tell all these other people, remember, YouTube's owned by Google, Google's in bed with those other corporations, they're going to say, hey, let's not talk about this. This looks bad for us, and this is hurting our brand, You tried with Duck Duck All Region. Sucks. Yeah. Ava Kris Tyson faces allegations of talking to minor. Andrew Tate and Nick Merckx react. No, they're not going to do that. They're not going to give you that headline. They're not going to tell you that Nick Merckx is calling this dude out and telling him that he's a piece of crap. They're not going to tell you that. But I'll play the Nick Merckx video for you right here.
And Ava is a great father to his 2-year-old boy. Or her, whatever the fuck. That's what he said on Twitter to me. This fucking character, man. I don't care how popular you are. I don't care how much money you got, how much power you think you got. Dog, I like, if we were in person, I'd fucking grab him by his neck. Don't speak to me that way. Are you out of your fucking mind? He's got his 2-year-old boy in heels that fit. There's a concern here.
And again, I feel exactly the same way as far as that. Maybe not the going after and grabbing by the neck, obviously. I have to say I don't condone violence, obviously. But the level of what the hell is going on here when you look at somebody who takes their 2-year-old and puts them in high heels and then takes a picture about it like they're so proud of it, you know?
And if there isn't for you, then you are part of the problem. It's not okay. It's not healthy. It's weird now.
Tyson makes a tweet
Fucking
stating
guy,
how
Mr.
one more
Bates, man.
Patreon donation they get and they're
Crumb of tweets. But apparently, this dude Chris's girl came out and defended him, right? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if that's a firm yes or firm no, but apparently she was tweeting like, I don't know who this Nick Merckx guy is and what he's saying about our fucking relationship and our family. Okay, let me get a little revisit on that. Can we circle back with old Dukes here, huh, mama? Let's get a nice little circle back, right? Like, I don't want to throw shit at your fucking door, right? I'm not really trying to like drag you through the dirt, but if you want to go toe to toe and you want to say things like that, let's circle back and let's revisit those comments about how great your family is, because surely the landscape is a little different now, huh? Fuck, man.
both direct contact with one another through Snapchat.
I just want a backyard like that. Look at that. He's got a freaking swimming pool back there and a view of the ocean. That's nice. My God, that's I don't get jealous of people's like possessions and homes and all that. But that is a gorgeous view, I'm not gonna lie. It looks like a palm tree there. That's nice. So yeah, again, these are people who've tried to tear down Nick Merckx. And again, I'm not even subscribed to Nick Merckx. I don't watch his content. I don't tend to watch a lot of the big streamers. I just don't. Not my personality type. So that being said, they have tried to go after him for months now, since last year, over his stance of, hey, you know, maybe people should just leave kids out of all of this stuff. You know, maybe you should just leave the kids alone. It nothing to do with them. These people, a lot of them don't even have their own kids. They're trying to affect other people's children and how you have to raise them. And look at these laws that they're passing in California now about how, you know, the idea is your kids want to do one thing and the parents say no. Well, now the parents go to jail or the parents lose rights to the children. It's the opposite of what our freaking country is founded on. Okay, it's absolutely insane. Yeah, Purple, I mean, I get that. And, you know, I respect that opinion. I personally am never going to be convinced that that situation isn't caused by underlying mental issues, and I don't believe people switching how they identify is going to make them happier, because I think it stems from a genuine mental problem. But again, I'm not going to go out of my way to say you can't live that way. No, if they think that makes them happy, then as long as they leave other people alone, I frankly wouldn't care. You know, going back to my childhood, I talk with my wife about this all the time. You know, we'd always see somebody who would dress up like a guy in women's clothing walking around public, and you just kind of you ignored it. You didn't make a big scene about it in public because nobody was going out of their way to try to embarrass or ridicule people, because it wasn't as in your face as nowadays. Back when I was a kid, the Pride Parade crap where you got these degenerates out there doing all sorts of disgusting things in public, that wasn't a thing. So it wasn't as big of an issue, you know? Memes will save America? Hell yeah. Gamers too, but gamers are also the category of people who tend to make the best memes. Not gonna lie, you know, I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand. It's hard to unsee a well-made meme. Oh, facts, for sure. I've had a few in the past that have done very well, but it just depends. But again, just showing the hypocrisy. All these people just, you know, covering Dr. Disrespect's downfall, and, you know, I'd go so far as saying gloating about it because of the fact that Nick Merckx and him were on the same side when it came to the anti-agenda side of things as being pushed on children, and, you know, and it just was like some sort of victory for them. So it's sad. It is what it is. So, you know, while I have a few minutes, speaking of the fact that we've talked about gamers and gaming, we're all pretty up to date, I assume, with the whole Assassin's Creed thing with Yasuke and the controversy going on in Japan and the West over the entire idea that he was a samurai, wasn't a samurai, all this stuff. So I made this article after some news broke over the fact that the guy that they have now, because you'll see, let me bring it up here, Culture Crave on Twitter, and I think it was The Gamer. Let me see, I think it's The Gamer. Had an article talking about this historian now has concluded that, yes, Yasuke, of course, was a samurai, so he had to be, you know, this one guy is 100% correct about everything, apparently. Let me see, Japanese historian. Let me see if I can get a easy search result from that. Hey, Droid Roberts has a YouTube thumbnail right there. That's awesome. Here we go. The exact article, or article I was looking for. From The Gamer. Damn Japanese communist, that's right. So this guy comes out and says there was no doubt that Yasuke was a samurai, okay? You know, I mean, honestly, we're going to get into that because a lot of people, I mean, in Japan, there's a huge pushback given the fact that there's this petition that has got over 90, they're up to almost 95,000 signatures. And again, there's no way to prove that these are all Japanese people, right? There's no way to prove that, you know, all of these aren't the same people that have signed other petitions or from the West or whatever. And for a while, there was a couple white Americans that had their videos on here. And everyone's like, dude, you're not helping. You're not Japanese. Get the hell out of there. But again, there is a reality that there are a lot of upset people. And especially given the fact that you're seeing now with the Japanese legislature covering this. You've got Japanese media sites that are now covering this. So there is a lot to this that they are seeing what the West is doing and they are not happy with it. They're doing the cliche thing, ousting themselves. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, Purple. It's the year zero crap, you know? It's the whole idea that we need to change history because history is the problem. If people know what happened in the past, they're going to be able to stop it from happening in the future. So you erase history, you change history, and you say, you know what? This is the YouTube account of the chairman. Which chairman? User P. I don't even know what that is. Let me put that in and see what it brings up. $134,000 subscribers. Okay, I see. So this is the dude who's bringing it before the diet. All right, all right. You were an anime character at your prom? Yeah, Casey, I would love to identify as Japanese. Honestly, when I was a kid, and I was a big Nintendo fan, obviously, I grew up on Nintendo, I wanted to move to Kyoto because I found out that Nintendo was headquartered there, and that was it. I was sold. And then I found out a couple years later that the city has like a lot of gardens, and it's really clean and very pretty. And I'm like, oh shit, I can move to Kyoto. Yeah, I'll learn Japanese and go work for Nintendo or whatever. I was like, that's the life right there, man. Then I realized I'd have to eat Japanese food, and I don't know how that would work for me. I don't know if I could do it. I know I'm never gonna try sushi. Don't even get me started on sushi. I'm not eating it. Not doing it. So I did this article talking about the communist, not PhD professor who claimed that Yasuke was a samurai and then basically said, well, you could interpret it any way. We don't really have enough evidence. But apparently he was also using Thomas Lockley's evidence that he fabricated to write in his book. And so it's this whole circular argument of saying, well, this source is saying this, and so I claimed this, and this source is saying that, and it's backing up this source. It's just this crap where they're just using sources to basically authenticate each other, you know? It's a bunch of just crap is all it is. Exactly, I'm a samurai too. It was in the local papers. That's cool. We was samurai, exactly. And so I did this article basically showcasing all these tweets and stuff, talking about how he's been exposed as a member of the Japanese Communist Party, doesn't actually hold a PhD. He's talked about how, again, it's just his interpretation. So I get up this morning. I look at my phone. I got like no sleep. 5 o'clock in the morning, I woke up for whatever reason. And I found out that I had a Subscribe Star subscriber. And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot I had Subscribe Star. So that was cool, but then I realized I need to put some shit on there. And then I look at the next email in line, and it's from somebody allegedly in Japan, okay? So this is this wall of text that I opened this morning when I opened my phone. And it says, "How do you do? I'm a Japanese who saw your YouTube video. I'm sad about the confusion caused by Mr. Thomas' writing. With all due respect, I would like to condemn what you are doing to Professor Hirayama. First off, I'm not doing anything to this guy. I'm reporting on my YouTube channel about the things that I have, read and seen with my own two eyes, and I'm, making videos and articles about it. So me personally, I'm not doing anything to him." He says, because, hang on, "This is terrible. I blame woke because they distort the facts for the agenda. You're doing the same thing." Now, I'm going to be a little gracious and say maybe there's a little bit of translation errors that we have here. Fake Japanese. We'll see. We'll see. Hang on. Says, "It is true that Thomas spread lies about Yasuke through his inappropriate writings, but unlike Thomas, Professor Hirayama discloses his opinions based on authentic historical materials. At least I know you're not talking maliciously. I'd like to thank you so much for your concern in opposition to the plagiarism of Japanese culture, but as a Japanese, I appreciate and respect the efforts these Japanese historians have made to understand and document our history. If you respect our culture, I want you to respect our historians too." Mind you, this is just one guy, okay? One person, one historian that he's talking about here. He is considered to be one of Japan's greatest historians for his extraordinary achievements. It is true that he was once a member of the Communist Party, but his writings have never been considered politically biased by the academic community. It is also common in Japan for historians to belong to the Faculty of Humanities, and it is common for the Faculty of Humanities to be attached to these universities. The work of a scholar is judged not by the past of the scholar, but only by the sources and theories on which his work is based. If you disagree with his hypothesis, please tell me which point you disagree with. I will present his hypothesis in the following sentence. You don't have to agree with this hypothesis, but if you do, tell me what's wrong with it. And again, people on Twitter have already argued back and forth with him endlessly about what's wrong with his hypothesis. People have pointed out the interpretation about what sword the guy was using, and I've seen that there's different context to, he might have gotten a stipend, he might have gotten a house, he might have gotten a sword, he might have gotten a bag of rice. I mean, people don't necessarily know the context of which, whatever the thing was that he received that he was had bestowed upon him, There's no additional context. I know. That's what I'm saying, Blu-ray. It's just absolutely crazy. And he goes on. He says, "Let's share some assumptions beforehand. First of all, it is important to note that the status of the samurai was in flux during the Sengoku period, and the criteria were more ambiguous than in other periods, such as the Kamakura and Edo periods. Therefore, it is extremely difficult to judge the status of Yasuke strictly. This is common knowledge among historians, but is not widely known even in Japan." So again, this dude here, this person who emailed me, clearly thinks he's a historian because he knows so much about this, or he has done a lot of research for this email. "Research on Yasuke has also made little progress in Japan. His records are so few that most historians paid no attention to him. Therefore, there remains the possibility of further research." Okay, just isolating that single sentence right there. The man has so little known about him that most historians paid him no attention. Okay? Most historians pay him no attention. Then why is there such a hyper-focused, intensity, this focus that has been put on this person, this need to verify him as a samurai, to promote him as the face of Japanese culture? I mean, look, Ubisoft with Thomas Lockley talked about the significance of how this is the most mysterious, legendary samurai in Japanese history. If there's so little known about him that most historians don't pay him any attention, then how can they also claim that he had this legendary status in Japanese history? Okay? Absolutely bonkers. Finally, although Dr. Hirayama's observations are well-founded and convincing, they have not been published in a paper and reviewed by academia, and it is still possible that this theory will be revised in the future. So now he's like, well, yes, this guy that I'm totally simping for and supporting, he hasn't been published, and so it is possible that this could all be a load of shit, and it just won't go any further. Let's move on to the explanation of Dr. Hirayama's theory. The Shinchoko Ki biography of Nobunaga Oda, or Oda, why is it? I don't know why it's capitalized, all 3 letters, which is one of the documents showing the existence of Yasuke, has several manuscripts with different details, and the manuscript called Senkaikaku Bunkoban, I'm ruining those words, I'm sorry guys, describes Yasuke in the more detail than other manuscripts. The Senkaikaku manuscript contains contents that are not found in other manuscripts, and it is unclear why it contains different contents. The possibility of creation remains. However, this manuscript is considered to be a reliable historical material by Japanese historians. Professor Tako Kaneko, a specialist of Shinchoku Ki and a historian who published a modern translation of the book, used this manuscript in his book. He suggests the possibility that the original manuscript was completed at an early stage. This man uses a lot of words to say nothing. I understand that this dude is trying to sell this story as hard as he can about why this historian is like the premier, top of the line. This guy knows more than anybody else. He's using the best sources. He's giving the best interpretation, presenting the best argument with the evidence available. But I just think it's a load of crap, okay? If I'm being purely honest. The way that he's not giving me any new information. He's just saying, you should believe it because reasons. In pre-modern Japan, when there was no printing technology, documents were copied by hand and the contents were often gradually omitted in order to save time when copying. The rich contents of the Senkaikaku Bunko, I'm not even going to pretend to know how to pronounce that word anymore, I'm done, may suggest that the people who introduced this manuscript were rather serious. In this manuscript, it is said that Yasuke received a decorated Sayamaki sword. This sword has been considered to be a short sword, so it was considered to be the basis for showing that Yasuke was not an official samurai. However, Hirayama pointed out that the sword Sayamaki was often used in this manuscript to mean a taki sword. Regarding the point that it was decorated, it is written as a nasuduke in the historical term in the original text, which means an extremely expensive decoration using thinly stretched gold and silver. If he met a mere servant, it would not be unusual for him to receive such kind treatment. Next, Dr. Hirayama discusses the issue of surname. It is often pointed out that Yasuke did not have any surname, and that this has been taken as evidence that he was not an official samurai, or at least not a high-ranking samurai. However, Dr. Hirayama points out that in the Sengoku period, when the social status system was ambiguous, there were several steps before a person who was not a samurai became a samurai, and points out that the honor of obtaining a surname from his master was quite high. He lists several people who did not have a surname, but had an official samurai status. He also points out that the name Yasuke was given by Nobunaga, and it is a great honor to receive a name, even if it is not a surname. Again, not making any point here. Not proving any. This is just a guy who's upset that the version of the story isn't being interpreted the way he wants it to be. Okay? And it is said that William Adams, who was famous as an English samurai, got the family name of Miura after he got the samurai status. This is what he says. I myself do not have expert knowledge of historical science, so I cannot verify his theory. There is still a lot of uncertainty about the reliability of this manuscript, so I am reserving my position. I hope he will sort out these ideas and the world of academia will verify them. I don't want to make fun of you, but I'm sure you couldn't read Japanese and wouldn't even have actually checked Professor Hirayama's tweets. Incorrect. I actually did look at Hirayama's tweets. I did not include them in my video because it was not relevant to the point that I was making. My entire video came down to the fact that he works for an entertainment company that is essentially funded by BlackRock and Vanguard and is heavily infested with DEI and wokeness, and he's also a freaking communist. That was the point of my video. I've looked at his tweets. Nothing in there was compelling or proved anything beyond I interpreted it this way using the available evidence, which is very little. So again, this guy probably watched my video and just assumed I didn't even look at the tweets. If you're going to confront woke, you shouldn't do what they do. You should criticize them based on facts and logic. If you can't do that, you and woke are in the same hole. All right, dude. I think I can call myself an anti-communist. I am incompatible with them because they are anti-imperial family. But seriously, Japanese communism and the American fight between woke and the anti-woke have nothing to do with each other. I mean, you can say that all you want. The American Communist Party was funded by the Russians, okay? Going back to the Soviet Union days. So you can say this all you want, that Japanese communism and American wokeness have nothing to do with each other, but I would strongly disagree on that point. And this Yasuke issue is entirely imported. I hope this problem will not cause any more trouble for my nation. Until now, there has been no problem with Yasuke appearing in Japanese games and movies as a true samurai. It's depressing to think that every time we do the same thing, the Afrocentrists or something and your friends will make a fuss. I've had enough. Yasuke himself is the biggest victim of this situation, in my opinion. I don't know how a dead guy is the biggest victim. Outside of this game, like when I first started covering this game last year, when this rumor started coming out that this is what they were going to do, I didn't have a freaking clue who this guy was, okay? I didn't have any idea whatsoever. I had to look him up. I'm like, there was a black samurai? Really? And then you start getting into the research and you go, well, they really don't know. But at that point, if you just go to Wikipedia and you look at the Wikipedia articles, you go, oh, there was a black samurai because this guy said so. Who's this guy? Oh, he's the guy who wrote the fictional book about the black samurai. Very weird, right? Very strange coincidence. So, again, this is what I opened my phone to this morning. I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning, way too early, and I looked at this. I'm like, some Japanese guy, allegedly, took the time out of his day to type this up and write it and send it to me. Maybe this is the dude. Maybe this is actually the doctor, the professor, using a pseudonym or something. I don't know. All I know is I could not believe that somebody took the time to write this all out. Yeah, oh yeah, Tencent, dude, 100%. It's like Democrats choosing their own nominees. Yeah. It's always white people pretending to be Japanese. He's saying no definitive proof, so he has to be a samurai. According to this point, proof of there was no proof face. Dude, I know. Points out how they need to be concerned because UB is owned by Tencent. Yeah, no, 100%. And again, I didn't make any claims. I am simply pointing out that the ones who are making claims are the people like this Hirayama guy who is interpreting it the way that he truly wants it to be interpreted just to try to sell a narrative. And again, I'm not a Japanese historian. I am not a Japanese person. I have no proof beyond what we have available in all this studying and all these historical documents and things that we have now presented before us. But this has become such a large issue that it's not just an American thing. It's not imported. It is not an imported issue. For us in the West, I think the biggest issue was we're seeing the Afrocentricism in everything. I mean, I can't remember if it was Grums or who had the tweets. I'm sure Blu-ray, I'm sure you saw them. Where it's all of these characters. I mean, you have April O'Neil from Ninja Turtles. You have all these superheroes where you have all these redheads and white people who've been completely race swapped to black. Okay, rather than create new good black characters, which when I say good, I mean good. I don't mean like the crap that we've seen with Flintlock and Concord and all this other garbage. Make good characters. Make attractive black people. Don't make the guys gay and don't make the women fat. Give us good-looking, attractive, likable black and female and male characters, but they can't seem to do that. If they give us new black characters, the guys are gay and the women are fat. I don't get it. Or in Flintlock's case, she's just completely boring looking. Has that freaking Michael Jackson red jacket, the most boring expressionless face. You know what it reminds me of? The chick from Flintlock reminds me of Amanda Stenberg from The Acolyte. Because it is just that resting bitch face, completely emotionless, expressionless, dead eyes, nothing going on behind the scenes, no care for anybody else. It's this completely stuck up, better than thou, kind of personality type that you can just see it in the eyes. Oh, Elon tweeted it. Yeah. Ginger washing. For real. Yeah, I mean, load of half-digested crap doesn't even begin to describe it, but it is what it is. And this is just the reality that we live in. And unfortunately, some people are going to take all the information available, all the criticisms, everything that we have on both sides of everything, and they're going to stick to their guns and say, this must be this way. And, I thought about this today because sometimes these topics we cover, the Alyssa Mercantes of the world, Kotaku, not Sweet Baby Inc. Sweet Baby Inc. will never get a pass. Sweet Baby Inc. must go out of business for anything to change. And I'm going to stick to my guns on that one. Those people that work there are all bad people. Okay, that'll never change. But sometimes you go, okay, all this Assassin's Creed stuff, Yasuke, this fighting between Japanese and Westerner, and is this real? Is this fake? What's the point behind it? Sometimes it gets to be a bit exhausting where I'm like, maybe I'm just done covering this, guys. I just feel like sometimes it's just not worth it. You just kind of beat your head against the wall too many times and you go, does it even matter? Is it even making a difference? Is it that big of a deal? Is it something that even, yeah, here's the tweet. Grums has this here also. And you can just see it, you have this race swapping of Cleopatra. You have the race swapping of Jarl Håkon Sigurdsson, okay, a Viking. Anne Boleyn, Queen Charlotte, George Boleyn, Richard III, Hannibal Barca, and I hate this because I love Denzel Washington, but Hannibal was not black. Isaac Newton's an Indian man on Doctor Who, Robert de Beaumont, King Solomon, Julius Caesar, Sir Bedivere. It looks like Jamon Hunsu too. Yeah, because I like him, but unfortunately these actors keep taking these roles. Margaret of Anjou, Carl Gustav Emil Mannerheim. Wow. Mannerheim. Another Hannibal. Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc, yeah. She has the personality of a dry mop, 100%. Lee on Walking Dead, Telltale was a great black protagonist, no one cared. Yeah, I mean, it's not about a black protagonist, black, lead. There are I mean, dude, okay, talking about Denzel Washington, one of my favorite, off-the-wall movies is that Book of Eli movie he made with freaking Mila Kunis, where he's blind and he's carrying the last copy of the Bible with him, and that is such a freaking awesome underrated movie in my opinion. Book of Eli is fantastic, probably one of my all-time favorite movies, and I don't watch it that often, but just great movie, original movie. That being said, Denzel Washington, fantastic actor. Will Smith, everyone loved him before he got cucked, Eddie Murphy and freaking Morgan Freeman and James Earl Jones. And it's Danny Glover. There have been not millions. There have been hundreds of awesome black actors, black singers, Whitney Houston, all of them. That it's not about black. It's about this Afrocentricism. I noticed this years ago when the Black Panther movie came out, because at that point, the Avengers movies, they were missing kind of a black character. They had, from Captain America, they had, Falcon. Well, he was a supporting cast, supporting character. And then Black Panther came out. And oh my God, that was after we had Obama and everybody was like, oh my God, we have a black president now. The world is saved. The same shit happened when Black Panther came out. Everybody went and saw Black Panther. Even people who weren't black were like, oh my God, this is the best movie ever. I watched Black Panther. I'm like, okay, the movie's all right, I guess, as a superhero movie goes. There's some humor. I liked the guy that played Bilbo from the Hobbit. I liked, what's his face? Can't remember his name. But the guy that played T'Challa was good. I hated Killmonger. Everyone wanted to talk about how great Killmonger was. I'm like, that guy can't act. He's terrible. Michael B. Jordan, terrible actor. And everyone's like, oh, Killmonger might be the best villain we've had. I'm like, screw that shit. That guy sucked. Yeah, here you go. All the ginger side we got going on here. And so that was for me, what really opened my eyes to this Afrocentricism that we have in the West, where it's not good enough to have equality. It's not good enough to have organic diversity. It's not good enough to have representation. It is this idol worship, if you will, of anything that's not white, that's not European, and it blows my mind. Yeah, Martin Freeman. Dude, okay, so the Hobbit movies were bad, but Martin Freeman was great. Martin Freeman as Bilbo was fantastic. Are more fun than white people when they're running the show? I believe it. Oh, dude, they hate redheads. They hate redheads. He tweeted how you were disingenuous. I didn't see that. I mean, it's sad because I have Irish people in my heritage. My mom, her dad was Sicilian and her mom was half Irish, half Dutch. That's my heritage back there, a lot of it. And I have a little bit of red hair in my beard. I got some gray and some red, some white. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't understand. And I've talked about this before because I hate rap and hip hop music. I cannot stand it. If other people enjoy it, go for it, whatever. But I've always said, the reason that we have this Afrocentric society is because of white women. White women are why hip hop is popular. White women are why all of this is happening. Because with the push of feminism came the push for the diversity and inclusion, and that's what's pushed us right into this mess. And it all goes back to communism. You can take feminism, hardcore feminism, and link it to communism, because both of them destroy gender roles. Both of them put both people on an equal pedestal, as far as both can go do the work, both do the physical labor, and so it erases the need for your, dual parent serving different roles in the home. In communism, the government's the parent. In feminism, both parents are equal. So it's essentially the same shit. Yeah, guys, I get it. And it's like, I lucked out. My wife is probably more right-wing than I am. I mean, in some ways. She's very much, my wife would never drive if she didn't have to. When we go anywhere, she makes me drive. She works from home, but she doesn't want to work. We have to pay the bills, It's like she homeschools. We do all that stuff with our kids. And it's like, she doesn't think women should be in the military. She doesn't like women police officers. She doesn't, my wife is definitely, like, my wife is hardcore, more anti-feminism than I am even. But it's just sad because this is where we are in society, to where now we're seeing it in everything. And it's like, we just wanted to have an Assassin's Creed game with a Japanese guy. And you get told by sites like The Gamer and Kotaku that it makes you a bigot. But now you have the controversy with Genshin Impact, where everyone's saying Hoyoverse is racist because the characters are white and they're not diverse enough. It's I can't win with these people. They're all insane. Bunch of freaking loons. You're not white and you still hate white. It's okay, we'll allow it. We'll allow it. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, Hunter. I don't know how I got so lucky. Dude, I tell you what. Count your blessings when you find one, Very based. All right, guys. I think that'll wrap it up for tonight. We got in a little bit of everything. I don't think the world is ending yet. Sounds like there's no reports coming out that Joe Biden has actually kicked the bucket. Thank God. Because despite all these whacked out crazy people who were all hoping that Trump was going to get eliminated, none of us want Joe Biden dead. None of us, and it could be for various reasons. We all could have our own interpretation, or our own perception of, what would happen if he died. I just don't want the man to die. Like, get out of office, retire, and be done with your political career, because honest to God, I'm terrified at this point. I have no idea what happens the rest of this year if he is not functionally, in some capacity, in the White House, Not looking good. I know, man. PS Vita Assassin's Creed pissed you off. It's supposed to be in Boston. Dude, I got bored with Assassin's Creed after Unity. I finished Unity. I had to drag myself through that game. And the thing is, when I played Unity, I had just finished up Shadow of War, which is a fantastic game, at least by comparison to Unity. So for me, it was like I had played Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War, a few of the other Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed, of course, Black Flag was fantastic. And then I played Unity. I'm like, what the hell was that? And the most boring storyline, boring game, boring gameplay. Everything sucked with that game. It was terrible. So that was when I swore off the Assassin's Creed series. I'm like, look, I played everything up to Unity. I didn't have any interest to even do like the one in Egypt or the one in Greece. I don't know why. I know, Blu-ray. I don't know what we do in that situation. My wife she's so funny. She's like, we need a backup plan. The main character of Black Chick? In which game? Are we talking about one of the Assassin's Creed games or what? My wife, she's like, we need a backup plan if she ends up being elected president. I'm like, look, I'm not doing this whole leaving the country thing, because here's the reality. When it comes to your local political situation in whatever state you're in, the way your country votes does matter to an extent. Whoever's leading your country has an effect on certain economic factors, of course, your global presence around the world, how you're perceived by other nations, trading disputes, that kind of crap, okay? Congress and presidency has that effect. Your state has a much larger effect because state law, in most situations, supersedes federal law as long as there's no federal law regarding it. But honest to God, even in my state where I live in Washington, where it's a blue state, there are pockets, large pockets of red, where it doesn't matter what the state law is. If your local city council and your local police department and your local judges aren't going to do jack shit about a blue law because they don't care, you can live within your neighborhood, your community, in whatever. You could live in California in places California is a massive Democrat state, but there are large pockets that are heavily Republican or conservative, where it's like, you can have your guns, you can have your land, you can do whatever the hell you want, and the government's not going to come after you there because the local police don't care. So it's not like you quite have to go, oh, we have to leave the country if X, Y, or Z happens. It's just you might have to relocate to somewhere that's more friendly within a certain state, you know, if that makes sense. Oh yeah, Vita Liberation, that's right. Yeah, Eric, I played First Descendant on my live stream on Friday a couple weeks ago. And I thought it was enjoyable. I didn't unfortunately get to play much of it. The longer people ignore it, the worse it'll get. Yeah, to a degree. Julia, did you relocate to the US or are you in a different country? If you don't mind answering that question. You know, Get Lost, there's actually quite a few games that only work well on a solid state. Starfield. Starfield is one of those games. I downloaded Starfield day one. I'm like, oh shit, I'll stream this game. Why not? Give it a try. It's free on Game Pass. The game wouldn't run. And I did everything I could to make it run. I could not get it to run. So that's when I got my M2 drive, my SSD for my motherboard. So I installed that, moved Starfield over to my SSD. The game runs fabulous. Then I just realized the game sucked, you know? Oh, that's right, you're in the UK. Yeah. Yeah, well now with the Labour Party, it sounds like the Labour Party is actually going to be sending back the illegals, but they're still going to allow the mass influx of legal immigrants, which is only like half the battle. Yeah. Yeah, Get Lost. I was like, okay, now that I can play the game, maybe I'll enjoy it. I think I played it for about 6 or 7 hours total, and I'm like, I'm just not feeling it. I don't know what it is. I've played games like Elder Scrolls. I loved Morrowind back in the day, and it's not that I don't like the playstyle of some of those games. It's just something about Starfield was just impressively boring. Very empty, very pointless, very, you know, whatever. Yeah, unfortunately, Julia, I don't know where we can go on this planet that isn't going to have a certain aspect or element of wokeness to it, you know? The reality is that most of these countries, most of these places have people embedded that whether or not it's popular there, yeah, I'm sure even Poland has their own communist party or whatever, and they're pretty right-wing based. Just sad. Because they're cheaper. Mods will fix it up in about 5 years. Yes, except if that's unless they completely destroy the modding community. Did you see that clip of that guy? One of these game podcast, you know, media insider dudes, whatever the hell he was, Access Media shit, that was completely trashing modders. He's like, oh yeah, you know, modding community, you know, you guys who put a brick, a square block in a game that completely tanks the game, could you guys do this thing for us, please? You know. Antarctica, oh my god. You want to freeze to death? My goodness. You know, I just realized I got through that entire Joe Biden segment and I never played his last speech of his political career. I'm going to play that for you guys now. Let me get this brought up for you guys. Okay. So, I saw this earlier today, and this is, I believe, live from today. And this is Joe Biden addressing all the rumors, addressing everything going on with him, and explaining his position and what he plans to do.
My fellow Americans, I want to take a moment to address some of the hateful shit you've been talking about me. Many of you have said I am suffering from brain worms, or that I have applesauce for brains. Well, I won't mince words, so here it is. Fuck you. You're all a bunch of End of quote. Repeat the line. So enjoy President Cackles or President Booty Juice? I really don't give two fucks anymore. Biden out.
All right, I think he's had a good run. No, I saw that AI little video clip of him. I'm like, oh my god, that is so good. I liked what Razor Fist did. He actually had it in black and white, but I'm like, you know, I have to just take the color version and bleep it out because I cannot have him saying the bundle of sticks work on my live stream, you know? Yeah, booty juice. They can try to stop the modders. That'll be fun to watch. Oh, for sure, Casey. It's more about, I don't think they're trying to stop the modders. I know Nintendo is pretty anti-mod, anti-emulating. Oh, Nexus mods are horrible. Those dudes are the worst. Holy shit. I've covered them for a couple years now, where they've been covering, or they've been removing the mods from like Spider-Man 2 and a whole bunch of other things where they try to remove pride flags and they go, oh, you can't do that. That's hate speech or whatever that crap is. It's like, guys, removing a flag is not hate anything. It's just, I don't want to look at this eyesore. Like, give me a break. No, you know, the thing is, I don't spend much time on modding websites. Unfortunately, I just don't have time for it. Figured out how to mod a few games last year, and I was like, oh, that's cool, okay. And then I just don't even play them, so it's like, what's the point? I mean, I'm gonna stick with the Friday night playing something. We'll stick with that for now. I know live streams watching one person play a video game tends to get kind of boring, so I'm not sure how long that's gonna last. But you know what? We will just try to stick with it for now and see how that goes. I wanted to talk about Boogie. I wanted to talk about Boogie tonight because that shit today was unreal. Boogie has lost his ever-loving mind, and it was pretty hilarious, but I feel like just calling it a night, going to bed, getting some actual sleep. Get funny to make alphabet shit. When the funding stops, they'll go back to making children. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, dude, I remember that. That was horrible. They had that mod where you could do all sorts of stuff to kids in there. Yeah, Chung-Li, of course. One of the victims of wokeism, unfortunately. They always go after the hot chicks, you know? They go after the hot Asians, the thick women. And instead of leaving them like curvy thick, they make them fat thick. They make them not good thick. It's like, I've talked to my wife about this because, like, you know, we've had kids. Neither one of us is physically where we used to be. I'm finally getting back to the gym and getting semi in shape. And, you know, she's still trying to lose weight from, she had surgery a couple years ago, and she's had kids and all sorts of stuff. And so neither one of us is happy with our bodies the way we are right now. But she's like, I don't want to see somebody who's struggling with their weight. I don't want to see somebody in a movie or in a video game or whatever who's not the ideal. You want to see somebody who is the idealized version of, not yourself, but of humanity. You want to see the most attractive person. You want to see the person who's in the best shape. You want to see the person who you're supposed to long to be, to look like, to idolize would be the wrong word, but you know what I'm saying. You're supposed to yearn for that perfection. That's the whole point of having attractive movie stars. It's the reason that even the music industry tries to capture like attractive people who are also talented singers. Not anymore, unfortunately, and most singers are hideous, but you know what I'm saying. All right, guys, I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to hit the hay. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Glad we were able to kill a couple hours together. Let's just hope and pray that Joe Biden lives through the night, that we get to tomorrow, and all of this was just a scare, that everything's fine, that the world's not ending, and that we can all sleep peacefully until this year is over and this election cycle is done. That being said, guys, thanks for being here. Make sure to check out the links down below. Check out that Kickstarter for The Hidden Emperor. It's a really cool graphic novel. Got the